Hey, good morning, YouTube. I'm Dan. This is Not Your Average Guy's channel, and this is episode 1 of a house build that we're working on. We've had this property for a few years, and we are building a house, and I'll give you a panoramic of the whole place. So that's the road. This is the field. We have a little cabin up here somewhere. I don't know if you can see it in the background, but we are getting ready to build this winter a house at this spot, and just want you to follow along. It's kind of going to be documenting this for my grandkids, great grandkids, and what we're trying to do is build a house for our family that is warm. Obviously it's winter out here, that is comfortable and suits our needs well. I'll get into the details in future videos, but for now I'll just say here's the site where we're going to build, and we are going to build a pretty energy efficient house with a shop and probably sort of a barn-dominium style house. I'm not sure how you would call it. I'll show you the plans in the next video. And really simple 4-sided design, and I'm going to use ChatGPT a lot to help me with questions. So maybe this is an AI built house, who knows. Not going to do a lot of edits on these videos because I don't have time for that. I'm building a house, so I'll try to make them short and sweet. You can follow along if you're a building science expert. Give me some pointers. But hopefully this right here is the view from the house, and this would be the back of the house that we're at right now. And we're going to develop this land a little bit more as we go along, but first we got to get a house to live in. So I hope you'll follow along, and I guess hit the like button, hit the follow button, and we will get this thing moving. Yesterday was the first day that anybody did anything on the house, and because it was January 2nd, apparently the surveyor and the septic soil scientists were able to get out. So I'll show you a couple of small things that have been accomplished. This is one of the corner pins on, well, the corner stake is a pin that's set, and it's actually 5 feet out from the edge. So 5 feet in here is where the edge of the house will end up being. And they pin it out here so that when the dirt work guy, when the excavator comes in and starts digging, he can get a few feet of over dig so that the foundation forms can be set up from both sides without getting into the markings, that show us where the elevation from the ground is in comparison with the bottom and the top of the footings. So the first move is going to be to excavate this area out, and that's first move after we get a building permit, which we don't have yet. So right here is one of the dig sites where I took the backhoe and I dug a 4-foot hole. And in our area specifically, it's basically topsoil and then clay. There's no rock right in this particular property, so it's pretty easy to dig 4 feet down. But what the soil scientist is looking for is the right type of soil that will absorb the excess water from the sewer system after it's gone through 2 tanks, a septic tank and then a pump tank. Now this site turned out to not work out, so I ended up digging 2 or 3 more sites up the hill. Oh, here we go. 2 or 3 more sites up the hill, and we found a site which is, unfortunately, it's kind of quite a ways away from the house, and it's getting really close to our cabin. And our cabin, we kind of want some privacy for when people are staying there. And so I'm gonna have to plant some grasses or something like that to try to, so with the cabin, with the septic system being underground, but really close up there, and we're gonna have to mow it, I'm gonna have to plant some grasses or something around it that kind of shield the view, because what we're looking for out here is just a really natural setting when people are staying. More into explaining why I don't really want it up there and what I'm gonna have to do to kind of create a better environment for the septic field. up the hill once we start working on it. So for now, that's it. So the other thing about this site is we had actually mowed and thought that we would put our house a little farther down the hill, and last minute came and so originally we were going to put our house here where this more mowed area is, a little bit closer to the road, about 120 feet closer. And we're really good friends with the neighbors, and they don't really love the idea of the house being too close to their house. And we want our privacy also. And so we moved it back another 150 feet or so. And hopefully, once we get our landscaping done and get the house in, they'll be able to maintain their privacy, we'll have our privacy, and we'll continue to be really good friends with them over time. The next step for today is I'm gonna go ahead and mow this off and stake out the actual corners of the house and maybe even map out some of the rooms. If I get that done today or tomorrow, I might give another little walkthrough of that. This is Judah, this is Asa. They're my co-workers on this project. What you got?
Something to cut the barbed wire?
Yep.
I don't know.
Not that. These are for aluminum. Those are for galvanized metal. Those are for gardening. But that's the point of this. We're learning what tools to use for what projects. So what is your project?
We are removing this stretch of barbed wire fence.
All right. I'll go find you some snips. This is the stake that he put in, and right below it, there's a pin. Right below it, there's a pin. And then this is the stake that he's going to show the excavator, and it helps us communicate because we can actually put a marking in here, and we can mark, based on the information on this, what height the concrete wall will be, communicate that to whoever's digging the hole for the foundation. So this stake is 5 feet wider than the house, so we can square up a point 5 feet from this stake toward the inside of the house, and it will be the exact corner of the house. Foundation plus 4 feet 9.1, so, or 91, 4.91, 4 feet 91 1/100ths of a foot is how high the foundation would be sitting out of the ground at this point right here. And so if you go down into the ground from that point 9 feet, that would be the bottom of your wall. Ergo, the footer would be below that. The footer's 8 inches. And so you can kind of get an idea there of how they figure the walls. But we're going to come in from the stake 5 feet, put a stake in, another stake in the ground, and we're going to bring it up to the height and mark probably with an orange line the almost 5 feet out of the ground that the foundation will be. We'll put that at all the points, and we'll mark an orange mark so that we can actually visualize, okay, here's where the foundation is going to sit compared to this ground. How much backfill are we going to have to put in? How much are we going to have to dig out so that our window wells aren't under the ground? In our area, the frost level is 3 feet down, so we want the grade at the edge at that point to be 3 foot above the footing so that we don't have to add extra insulation or extra deep footings at the edge of our house. So I will map out how we will do that on a whiteboard, and then we'll come back here and do that. So the easiest way to square any part of the foundation is to use the Pythagorean theorem. So we're going to have side A stake or have someone else hold, and you draw your tape out to 36 feet. And you actually spray paint or mark an arc, because on an arc, if you keep holding 36 feet, that distance is going to be 36, the same as this distance is, the same as dead center. That's going to be 53 feet 9 3/4. That's going to be, and everywhere in between. And wherever those 2 points, wherever those 2 arcs cross each other, is going to be your location and of your, that's what's going to square this up. So that's your new point, that's 90 degrees, and now you have 3, and so now you can come off of here and you can go 36 feet. If you're trying to get a box, you pull off of there and you go create that same arc again. And it needs to be better than that, but you make an arc from there, and then you have 3 points where this arch, and this arch correlate. That's your mark, and you have a perfectly square box where each corner is 90 degrees. We're going to stake out the back corners of the garage, where the garage and the house meet up, and the front corners of the garage. And that's going to be 36 feet. That's going to be 40 feet. This is going to be 48 feet. And the 4 corners of the porch. It's a wraparound porch that goes all the way around the edge of the house. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and pre-calculate a lot of these distances and the compared distance for squaring. Another way that I can represent this is I can just simply go $56, $50, $75 feet, 7/8 of an inch. So I basically have everything that I need to, with this little diagram, I have everything that I need to square the house on site without having to get the calculator out again. I'll go ahead and show you where I've staked everything out and a little bit of the detail that the surveyor was able to give me so that I can map out where my foundation is going to sit. So this is the front corner. This is the stake, it's 5 feet. So at that point, this stake says 4 feet, 0.91, and 4 feet, 0.91, and that levels out with the other corner markings as I can see it. So the foundation is going to stick out of the ground that much, and if we want earth, we'll have to do fill. So they call it fill plus 4.91. And then this one is fill plus 5.34. There's actually going to be a window well in this corner that I really don't want to have under the ground. I don't want water to be able to run into it. So the grade is going to come down. The grade is going to come down this way, and it's going to basically, out here it's going to be the natural grade. Over here it's going to be the natural grade, and all of our fill is going to happen up here on the other side where the driveway is. So it's just kind of nice to be able to visualize how the house is going to lay, have it all chalked out or painted out, and really get a feel for it before the guy starts digging. Because once they start digging, you can't really picture it till it's done in many ways. So we'll catch you next time. Like and subscribe if you want to followed this whole project along.